Ballymurphy Massacre, Kangaroo Inquest, Part 2. People that follow my videos know that I try my best to show evidence that I am not a Walter Mitty and I was there, and what I'm telling and saying is the truth. This is me at the Vere Foster School above the Henry Taggart Hall, where I was a corporal medic serving with the 23rd Field Ambulance attached to B Company 2 Para before the day of internment. This is a picture of the Henry Taggart Hall, where I used to sleep. I had my own room in this building. This room was also where the people who were interned on the day of internment were initially brought before they were taken away in lorries. The people that were shot later on the day also were brought there to me to be treated for their gunshot wounds. If you look at the red car in the photograph, you'll see in front of it a Sanger position, which was at the front gate, and behind the car was another Sanger position on top of scaffolding. So where the scaffolding tower was, that was demolished after the day of internment by nail bombs and stones, and I had to treat the two paratroopers that were slightly injured when that fell down. Where the car is, I was at cleaning stones, millions of stones that had been thrown into the camp. I'd been a bad boy, as I've said in my videos. I shouted, "Out with the IRA," and all the rioting stopped. There was a pause. Then I shouted, "By the fucking neck," and the rioting started again. And I got punished by my sergeant major and Major Jenkins, so I had to pick up stones. And it's near that car where I came under heavy fire from machine gun fire, automatic fire. The front view of where I was is the next picture, this picture. I could see the bullets ricocheting off that barbed wire fence in front of me. I soon got behind the stones I was moving to take cover, but I was on my own out in the open. So I took out my 9mm pistol and fired 2 shots in the air, which caused the IRA gunman to duck, because nobody likes rounds coming back. But I'd only fired them in the air to put the heads down, while I made a hasty retreat back into the Henry Taggart Hall. If you look at my videos, I'd made 4 videos about the day of internment and events that were important before the day of internment, why internment occurred. Then I was approached 48 years later by a company called Field Fisher, asking me to give evidence at the new Ballymurphy Inquest cum massacre. So initially I didn't want to do it. They asked me to contact the Ministry of Defence, which I did, and they asked me, and Field Fisher threatened me. My lawyer says they have no jurisdiction whatsoever outside the United Kingdom and couldn't force me to give evidence. But as being an honest person, nothing to be ashamed of, I decided to give evidence. I had been contacted a couple of years before this inquest was to be announced by a woman called Janet, who was the spokeswoman for the families of those killed on the day of internment. She informed me that she had 2 soldiers willing to give evidence against the British Army to show that they were in the wrong, and wanted me to do the same. I says, "Look, Pet, I'm prepared to give evidence, but I'm not going to lie for you or anybody else. And I collared her about, are the IRA going to give evidence? Because, in my opinion, some of them guys, people died because the IRA didn't allow ambulances in, but you refused to condemn the IRA. I did inform the Ministry of Defence about 2 soldiers that would give evidence against the army. Did they react? I don't think so. But listen to the details from M597 from A Company 2 Para. He told a pack of lies. A Company were nowhere near the troubles on the day of internment. So what he stated was just total pack of lies, helping the families. I wonder why. Was he being paid? Did he have a problem with the IRA? I don't know. But if I'd been in England, I would have in police. I would have investigated this guy, because I told the MOD this was going to happen. The other soldier said he was living in Ballymurphy. Now, if you believe any soldier was living in Ballymurphy amongst the Republican movement and IRA, I laughed then and I laugh now. No fucking way. He's a liar as well. He said he saw paratroopers in the distance firing on the innocent victims of the Ballymurphy internment. Now, go 10 yards wearing a beret in the dark and see if you can see what colour it is. Go 100 yards. The beret will look black. And all paratroopers used to cover their badge on the front of the beret in masking tape so the silver didn't shine. Total lies and fabrication. Who was making money out of the Ballymurphy inquest? And this is what I stated in the Ballymurphy inquest. They're only here to make money, and they didn't like that. The IRA were very good at intelligence gathering. They had informers in the British Army. I know that for a fact. All the way to the Houses of Parliament. You go back in the past, Sir Roger Casement was an informer and traitor against the British, yet he was a Sir and knighthood, eh? Then you had Jeremy Corbyn, who was in with the IRA, and Gerry Adams. Many pictures of him to prove the fact. But for sure, we had soldiers giving evidence against us. Many had married Catholic girls from Ballymurphy and around Northern Ireland. The Ballymurphy Defence Association and its committee have been there for many years before internment and still exist today. They include the IRA, local politicians, Catholic Church, all branches of the IRA, from the women and the children, and many members of the community, all supporting this association and committee. Their lawyers only work for the IRA. Therefore, they coordinated all the statements being given to the Ballymurphy inquest. I personally witnessed a meeting of the Ballymurphy Defence Association. Many members drinking in the local club within Ballymurphy next to the timber yard. I also have detailed papers and conversation of one of these meetings, which I was given by a man called Liam Clark, who was a reporter for the Belfast Telegraph. They did and do exist and are helping with the inquest. The attack on the Henry Taggart Hall and my company was coordinated by the IRA, first using the children to throw rocks, petrol bombs and nail bombs. After they disappeared, then came the gunmen, and I was the first target of the gunmen. The association had set up a field hospital in one of the local schools. They were preparing to take casualties. This was organized, and it needs to be investigated because MI5 know every member of the IRA then and now. So many IRA and Jerry Adams were working for MI5. I was just wondering if they were part of the Ballymurphy Defence Association. I wouldn't put it past MI5. What a bunch of wankers we got running the British government. I'll leave this to the next part 3 and give you a lot more information, embarrassing to many.